I'm producing a lot of heat and I can't get rid of it.
Well, I know what happened when we had
I got low
the
airflow.
we had low airflow. They had high static,
Uh-huh.
ductwork issues. That's the first thing. I was like, oh, as soon as I saw H4 with that unit, I knew, hey,
Yep.
let's go inside, get your manometer.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Daniel, Director of Sales for the East. With me here today, I've got JD and James. JD?
Hi, again, I'm JD. I'm with the residential side, and also I do a lot of the training and training videos and from the lab and whatnot.
And James?
I'm James McIntyre. I run commercial.
All right. So,
And as always, we say if you have any specific job you're working on and you're in the U.S., you have a question on a GRE unit, call your distributor tech line 888-850-7928. Again, 888-850-7928. Otherwise, submit your HVAC question anytime using the question mark icon to the right. We'll be checking that throughout the show. So remember, keep the questions relevant to what we're talking about. Just a few notes. You'll see the agenda on the screen. We're going to talk a lot more about air codes today. We're also going to try to go about the rapid fire, so we can get through all of them. But ultimately, we'll mostly adhere to our time limit, but sometimes it may
maybe.
go over. Again, we'll try. Some air codes are a little more in depth than others, so again, we'll try. Questions throughout. Again, we'll be looking at your questions throughout the time, and we'll answer those as time permits. Also, if you're watching on demand, we have timestamps in the description, so you can skip to the topics that you're interested in. And let us know the question link, what you'd like us to cover on the future episodes, trainings, or tips. And remember, if you want to ask questions live, you need to join from one of two places. Join from our website or our Contractor Pro app. It's available on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. In the app, register under training and events. All right, so let's start talking comfort.
All right. So, first off is our misnometer, which is error codes equal a diagnosis.
Do not equal a diagnosis, right?
Are you sure?
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
All right, fine. Error codes do not equal replace a part. So when you're going to that job and you see an error code, don't immediately call your distributor and say, "Hey, what part does this error code mean I need?" Right?
Right. If you don't know, I would suggest going to our app or going to call tech support, the number we just gave you.
That's right. So an error code is just a starting point. I've heard this over the years so many times. It gets you to the street address of the house you're looking for, but it doesn't give you the house address. So you got to do a little bit more digging to figure out what's going on there. So what we strive to do here is to avoid the you know replace a part, replace a unit. It still don't work. What's happening? So I'm glad that we get to talk about troubleshooting today because my head's so full of sales things. It's good to get back to this. So
Yeah, I got to hear about, I don't know, margin one more time.
KPI, James. KPI.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the street address thing. Absolutely. I mean, the error code's telling you, maybe times at least, the error code's telling you like maybe the error code means that I got like low superheat or like I'm returning liquid. I'm flooding my compressor. So what does that tell me? Right? I mean, I might hook up gauges and go find out basically the same thing, right? But the unit just tells you that itself. Um, excuse me. So, I mean, it gives us a place to go. Now, where you go find that information can depend on where you're looking for, right? Let's see.
So I was going to say one thing too. So if you do call into tech support, at least have some tools and have your gauges hooked up. Don't be the guy that calls in and, hey, what's your pressure? Well, let me go to the van and get that. what's,
Yeah.
what's your what's your voltage? Let me go grab my meter. And then
Man, you tech guys, y'all ask for so much. I mean, come on, JD. You got to at least be patient with them. Let them go get their meter out of the truck. No,
yeah.
no, it does
Yeah,
help. It does help to be
it
prepared.
does. Well, I mean, we do have people that call and they say, well, I've been standing here for 45 minutes. Like, you just standing there for 45 minutes? Like, you didn't look at, the equipment and everything.
What's your
Uh,
voltage? I don't know.
I mean, I like looking at TikTok too, but yeah, you're right. And the gauges thing, I've heard for years, people say that, I've been told not to even bother hooking up gauges to these things or whatever. I don't know. I mean, think back to who told you that, you know,
Some sales guy, right?
probably some sales guy. Don't ever trust those people. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, hey, many of our viewers are also sales guys. There's a lot of good ones out there
I
that
would
really
say
try to
all
help
of our
you.
viewers are sales guys. One thing that I have learned over the course of my time here, working in tech support and working in training and now working in sales, is that we are all salespeople. From the guy that has sales under their title to the guy that's out there working on the system. Every single one of us. So
Yeah, but well, I know that many of us aren't going to claim to be the white shirt guy, though, right?
well, that's why I've got a different colored shirt, not just a white shirt on.
There you
I
go.
want to blend in a little bit.
I would definitely take a look at voltage because that's one that comes up pretty often, especially it's the start of heating season, and unbelievably, some of us in the United States are already heading into heating season. Apparently, doesn't feel like I am here. I mean, it feels like the heat's on outside, but voltage is one. I mean, a lot of the mini splits out there. If you've got 230 volts hooked up, everything's good. But if you've got a 230-volt unit and you hook up 115 volts to it, you may have operation. You may have operation all summer long with 115 volts. Most inverter-driven equipment, seems like most, they need to engage during heating cycle their reversing valve, and unfortunately of all the things that might need both legs of power in your mini split or your inverter driven system, your reversing valve is one of those things. So we tend to get those calls, starting in the fall. Hey, it ran all fine all summer. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, although that does give us a clue. Like, let's check the incoming voltage. And I know we've said it so many times at this point, but if you're on the phone with tech support, just tell them like an actual number, what the voltage is, not just good, because eventually you're
Or
going to have to.
240. It's 240.
Yeah,
I know it's not
unfortunately,
240.
it's only over 240.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I had a call like a week ago. I guess New York was having a heat wave, and they actually turned down power to the whole. I don't know if it was the whole city or what, but the voltage was 176 at the unit. It was enough to
no,
power the indoor head, but our communication was low. So, but
Mm.
it didn't even throw a code. And yeah, he's like, man, I didn't even think about checking voltage.
so what
And
part did you replace for that?
they did. You can't replace a part. He just had to wait, and they literally had to turn power off. And I just told him once they turn your power back up, you can turn it back on, because otherwise you
Tell
get
me
damaged
to
something.
they tell them they need a transformer. They'll be like, I don't see a transformer in here. I'm talking about the pole.
You need a step
Transformer.
up transformer.
The step up transformer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'll work out great.
I have tried one of those 120 to 230 volt step up transformers. Of course, it wasn't an expensive one, and the communication doesn't work well off of that. It'll throw a communication code immediately.
We've seen
Yeah.
that on display units. We're trying to have
Yeah,
training carts they can plug into wherever, like the break room somewhere or whatever. I've seen that quite a bit. And also trying to read, even just trying to like show people what the voltage might be and all that doesn't work
it
right.
doesn't
It
work
won't
out
match
right.
any of
No.
your troubleshooting charts, stuff like that. But
All right. Well, so question check. JD.
Question check.
Yeah.
Refreshing here. Good question. Came through. And the question is, what is the name of the app?
It is called the Contractor Pro app.
Yep.
So I think that's how I found it when I tapped it into my phone and searched the Google. I've got Android. Don't make fun of me.
What's there to make fun of?
So go to the Play Store.
In order to find it, it's going to be the Gree Contractor Pro app.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there's all kinds of other ones on there that have similar names. So if you want like
Yep. Type in Gree Contractor Pro and it comes up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unless you also want to do like construction estimation. Yeah, you got to put that in there in order to find it.
But that app is I don't like things that send me notifications, but it is pretty cool that it will actually send me a notification of an upcoming Talking Comfort Live or an upcoming Tech 90. Because even though I do work here, I get busy. I forget there's a Tech 90 coming up, and I might want to watch it to see what's happening or what's new.
Sometimes he's on the 7th hole on some nice golf course somewhere in like Virginia.
Yeah,
on a sales call.
Yeah.
Quotation marks on that sales call.
That's why I couldn't get a hold of you.
No comment.
What you want? What are you calling him for, JD? All right.
All right. Common codes. So, are you suffering from the common code? Let's look at
common code. Oh gosh.
Let's look at 3 high impact fault categories commonly found across inverter-driven HVAC systems. The specific error codes vary by manufacturer, of course. JD, you want to pick up on that first one there?
All right. So indoor to outdoor communication failure. So on Gree, that'll be an E6 code. On the aux, it's going to be an E5 or A9 or U4. And there's a CH05 or an EL01.
U4 is Daikin, CH05 is LG, and EL01 is who knows what that is.
How do you know that?
Because I worked at both of those companies.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, the troubleshooting and all that is remarkably simple. Similar. Similar is what I meant.
Yep.
So when you flip that, make sure I didn't say simple.
It is very simple too to troubleshoot an E6. I can still remember how to do it. I hadn't troubleshot one in a few months.
Yeah. Well, see, I know that we used to have a disagreement a little bit in tech support as far as how to go about troubleshooting.
No, never.
I would like to troubleshoot. Well, yeah. I mean, they're still technicians. They do like to disagree a little bit, right? But I always like to disconnect like the DC components, and then see if I get communication, right? Because if I disconnect, like let's say the outdoor fan motor, like if it's a 5-wire fan motor, if I disconnect that fan motor and then it shows an outdoor fan motor error on my indoor unit, that means that we're talking now, right? Means we're talking now. It's kind of like marriage counseling between the indoor and outdoor unit.
Right.
No? Okay. All right. So, but then, a lot of people like to look at it like doing the voltages and all that. They're looking for their 55 volts DC, stuff like that. Of course, that might vary depending on the manufacturer. Right. Then you also have like the RS-485, systems or like CAN bus systems like the GMV systems. Those troubleshooting steps are a little bit different. Right. If you've got multiple indoor units and they all say communication error, it's probably not going to be one of your indoor units. Just process of elimination. I mean, I know I'm not a scientist or anything, but right.
Oh yeah.
But also, where to find that information? You're going to have to go look at your manual, right? Or use our app, that kind of thing. You go find that information.
Well, just kind of taking a step back. And this is something that has helped me immensely over the years in troubleshooting is to just take a step back. We kind of jumped into that, right? So we jumped into, like, you want to measure 55, you want to unplug things to see if you get, which is great.
Don't unplug them while the
But
unit's powered up.
But don't
Hold on,
forget,
let's-
start with voltage. And then one of the simplest things that we ask, JD, correct me if I'm wrong, is do you have a condensate pump?
Yep. Oh
I
yeah.
think it's
And
on
and
the
then go from
troubleshooting
there.
charts, on the troubleshooting charts that we wrote, not the flow charts and manuals and all that. We're talking about some real folks writing it, not some engineer somewhere.
The instructions in the app that we wrote.
Yeah,
Yes.
that, and on our website. That
Yeah.
literally one of the first steps is, does it have a condensate pump?
Yep.
Everything was working fine. All of a sudden, we get this error code. Well, what could it be?
Well, I
Right.
just installed a condensate pump.
I can reset power, runs for a while. By the time I left, they call me back 30 minutes later. It's on an error code again. Well, all you're doing is you're opening up, the wrong line in that case, right? If I'm
Yep.
not mistaken, you're opening up
Yeah.
your communication line. It's wired incorrectly, And yeah, so I mean, one thing I want to say about these error codes that we're talking about, like there's always like combinations of letters and numbers and stuff like that, but you got to look at the definition. And our manuals, we try to update all of them. We try to put our own spin on them and all that in the actual English, not Southern English or anything like me and Daniel might do. It's broke, that kind of thing.
It's
But one of the things that we are all faced with, just like if you're, I don't know, building some furniture your wife ordered from Amazon, is that when you look at some of the directions, maybe the translations aren't all that great. So you're having to start thinking like synonyms, that kind of thing. Some of them are wild. I'm not gonna lie. Some of them are pretty crazy, but I can't think of any necessarily off the top of my head, but I'll give you one. There's a fresh air unit years ago. And when they brought that over, we knew it was called a fresh air unit. And then we kept seeing this term used over and over. This wasn't us, but this was years ago. But they kept saying new wind. Kept saying the new wind unit, the new wind unit, the new wind unit. I'm like, finally, it occurred to me one day. I was like, new, fresh, wind,
new.
air, fresh air,
Yeah.
new wind. Okay, but I mean, translations are getting better. People using AI and stuff like that all the time. So, yeah, they're getting better. But another one that you'll see is like indoor ambient temperature sensor malfunction, or any sensor malfunction for that matter, right? Any of our thermistor malfunctions. Right. You see a thermistor malfunction, or somebody calls you and tells you, hey, it says this on the display. You go look it up on your phone real quick, and it says it's the pipe temperature sensor. Right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Would you even go to that call without a sensor in hand?
That's probably one of the only error codes that I would say go ahead and get that part. Because if a sensor is failed to where it will give a code for that sensor, it's most likely failed to open, or the wire's cut or something like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if there's a problem with a sensor, you're not going to get a code. You're going to get irregular operation, not quite performing like you think it should, or it's designed to, because it's confused by the reading that it's getting. So,
right. I think in my experience, I'd say it's fairly seldom that it's just reading off. I mean, if it's reading off, like you said, it's just not going to be operating like you want it to,
right?
Like you expect. It's not that it's open or short, right?
I have gotten an E1 code based off of a discharge temperature sensor reading too high, even though there was no sensor code, but it's got a high pressure code based off of that temperature.
There you go.
I've had that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had indoor coil sensor doing the same thing, where it's reading too low and throwing the FO code when it was just the sensor is just reading low.
Yeah. Yeah. FO means low refrigerant, in case y'all are wondering.
Big O, F big O.
Yeah, F big O. Yes,
yeah.
There's a difference.
Little O.
F little O, you'll never see that one.
Well, unless you hit the right combination of buttons or whatever on.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the LIVV or something. I don't remember what it was, like defrost or. oil
Yeah,
return or
it's like oil return. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, oil return. Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, I know we said it before also, but I mean, it's still an air conditioner. It's just giving you some hints. I mean, I feel like, like the auto mechanics and stuff like that with their tool. Um, you think, okay, I got this code, maybe I just need to replace this, but they understood that, over time that they had to troubleshoot it too. So, we're in the same boat as far as that goes. All right.
All right. So I think we covered the common codes there pretty good. Protection and modes. So let's continue with 4 fault, pressure, system, mode, and inverter protection faults. What's that first one there, JD?
All right. So first one is high pressure protection. A couple different here. So on Gree, it's going to be an E1 code. On aux, Medea, a P1, and Daikin, it's going to be an E3 code. So again, when you see this code, I mean, there's several things that could cause that. I mean, the first thing is I'd be looking at if it's a new install. Did we charge by superheat subcool, or did we actually weigh in the refrigerant? I get that call often. Actually took that call earlier today. Contractor's like, man, it just kept on adding, and it's not going where it needs to. And I'm like, how much did you add? And he added a pound when he probably needed a few ounces. And then he had an E1 code.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the point that we can make here is that each one of those, like, you can also use the experience that you've had before, right? You think, okay, when have I seen high pressure protection before?
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what product it is. Like, you think like, I don't know, a Carrier or a Train or whatever, like, the high
A
pressure
ring, that red button on the, you remember that on the ring?
The pressure reset,
yeah.
Yeah, a little pressure reset button.
Yeah, press that button and leave, and then come back half an hour later.
Exactly. It's good to go.
But yeah, I mean, it depends on your time delay on the thermostat, how long it takes to trip again, right? No, but think back, high pressure protection on anything that you've ever worked on. If you've seen high pressure protection before, hey, that pressure switch was tripped out. It must be a bad pressure switch. Well, how long did it take you to learn? You switch out a pressure switch, and how long did it take you to
still
learn?
didn't fix it.
Yeah, it might not have fixed it. So think back, what were the conditions that made it trip the last time you saw it? Regardless of what you're working on, there's a commonality all the way through. Still an air conditioner,
Right.
As far as let's say, how about the next one? The general system protection or a normal operation.
H4.
Yep, H4.
Yeah. Kind of might be like more of like a check engine light at that point, right?
Yeah, but then again,
generic.
H4 can also mean overheat.
Yeah, it's a lot of times charge related overheat. It's a lot of codes combined. Sometimes when one of the other codes doesn't pick it up, sometimes you get system abnormal and just know something's going on.
So when you say overheat, what component are we talking about overheating?
All right, so this is particular to the unitary, the flex, right? We saw a lot of H4s on those when we first introduced that product. And you correct me if I'm wrong, JD. I'm pretty positive that was an overheat listed in that manual. It may say something different in the mini split manual, but basically I'm producing a lot of heat and I can't get rid of it.
Well, I know what happened when we had
I got low airflow.
We had low airflow. They had high static, ductwork issues.
Yep.
That's the first thing I was like, oh, as soon as I saw H4 with that unit, I knew, hey, let's go inside, get your manometer.
Yep. And that's what it turned out to be most of the time. The other one that popped up a lot with that was the oil return code, which is 09 on the flex.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that 09 would happen often because it's having to go into oil return because it's running at such a low hertz because of poor airflow that it's unable to, even if it didn't get to the point where it was like, hey, I can't expel this heat, I got to throw an H4, it's still often doing that oil return to get oil back to the compressor.
Yep.
So,
So you're saying because of low airflow, I'm running at a low capacity condition for
Uh-huh.
an extended period of time, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So you tricked it into running at a lower capacity,
Yes.
right? I mean, I guess dehumidification is probably great.
True.
That was one plus side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that being a plus side. However, I will say that you're pushing the limit of, well, you're not really wanting to drop temperature. You're wanting to drop humidity. Humidity is the most important thing. You know, I hear a lot. There's a limitation to that. I can have 40% humidity, but 85 in the house, they're not happy, right?
That's true.
So, yeah.
That's true.
It's a dry heat, James.
I guess that's what I get here too. Yeah, my yard's dead, but it's still 98 degrees outside. It's not comfortable. But I will take this over the wet heat, you know, being from Alabama and now living in Texas. But how about mode conflict? Do you think that happens pretty often?
All the time.
Places where you
Yeah.
ought not to live? Just joking.
Yeah. So I mean, it's basically just having the one person turn it to heat, one person turn it to cool. I actually had somebody call in not too long ago, and they had individual apartments that they were trying to do a multi-zone, and they put a zone in each little apartment. And
I can't tell you how many times I've heard that, JD.
yeah,
And I'm sitting there going, why
yeah,
would you put this in like this with two different tenants, two separate homes,
yeah.
basically?
And as yeah, I was like, you're going to need to get single zones for those. That's how what application should have been there. So,
Or if you want, James can speak to this. If you want to put in a heat recovery system,
Yeah.
might be kind of pricey for two rooms, but
That's a good point. Yeah. So yeah, what if somebody says, "What do you mean it doesn't do both at the same time?" Like, how much did you pay for it? Right.
right.
But
That's
I mean,
true.
that's something to remember across the board. I mean, there's a couple of single phase heat recovery manufacturers out there, um, but they're not exactly taking over the market or anything either. I mean, because there is a cost increase, and particularly with multifamily, seems to be fairly cost sensitive.
yeah,
You know, a lot of the
almost always.
applications where you might find P-tax,
Yeah.
you'd be like, this would be perfect for heat recovery. Yes, it would be. The customer might not always be right, but they're also the one signing the check. So there's that. Um, Maybe they want an air conditioner, they can buy them, their favorite, I don't know, online retailer. Just slap it in, be ready to go.
Oh yeah. And then we also have inverter power module synchronization or overcurrent protection. So get that code. A lot of times, so on Greed, it's going to be an H5, on Medea, P6, P3, Daikin, and L5. But when you get this code, most of the time it's, could be charge related, dirty condenser, dirty evaporator in heat mode or filter. Or if they replace that board and don't put the thermal paste or all the screws in, so you get an H5 a lot.
JD,
Yes.
you got a cat in your lap?
Yeah.
I see a cattail.
I was trying to push it down.
I'm just glad he knows it's there. It's not
Good
like a
point.
raccoon or something else in his house. What cat?
Huh? What? No,
Um,
the H5 or IPM module synchronization one is a common one. And
yeah,
I'll say, we pulled these from the most common codes that we've, run into from the tech team this summer. So that's why we're going over these particular ones.
right.
This is
Also from the searches within the app too, right?
yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
that provides us some valuable information too. We can see, maybe you're not necessarily calling into tech support because not everybody calls into tech support, but like, we can see like apps becoming more common and all that. And honestly, helps like these episodes and stuff like that be a little more be a little more prescient, you know, a little more
On point.
on point, on the nose, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man, I had that error code just the other day. Well, guess what?
It's because you searched it.
Yeah. So that, yeah, that can help out definitely. I will say that on the inverter power module synchronization or overcurrent protection, you know, you can also think of it like what else causes a high current on a compressor, you know, regardless of what system it is and all that. But some of this, I mean, some of these can be very particular. I mean, specific toward like inverter-driven equipment, you know.
Yeah.
Some of them can be. But yeah, the high current thing. So you can get that same failure. You can get an H5 if you if the heat sink like the inverter board overheats.
Yep.
The same code.
Mhm.
It's not confusing. It's not confusing at all.
No, not a bit. But you know that particular code, you know, most of the time you're checking the compressor to make sure the windings, you know, the all minute out, making sure they're equal, and then you're kind of looking at, well, before you dive down the rabbit hole into the compressor and all that kind of stuff, you're looking for a reason why it's overheating is
Right.
kind of and it could be board overheating or unit overheating. You're not expelling the amount of heat out of that outdoor condensing coil that you're supposed to. So it's going, hey, I'm ramping too many amps on this compressor. I'm overheating. The board's overheating. A lot of the systems are air cooled. They air cool the board, so if you're not taking the heat out of the board can overheat, things like that. So you have a dirty coil. Do you have did someone inadvertently decide to stick a big box in front of the fan on the outdoor unit for whatever reason? Had that call one time.
See one of those DIY build a box around your air conditioner.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's beautiful. My air doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I've actually got one of those down the street. I've seen the mini split replaced 3 times now.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 different brands too. I know what's going on there. Oh,
yeah, they're going, that brand's no good. We'll go to the next one.
Junk. Yeah, go with the next one. I mean, hopefully it's not the same contractor.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. I hope they don't see the episode, I guess. But on the, let's see, what was that? There's one more point I thought to make about that. Oh, it's also seasonal.
True.
Right? So maybe, you know, in cooling season, it seems to be working just fine, just like we were saying before. But you're talking about the heat rejection. The evaporator coil doesn't quite have the surface area that the outdoor unit has. I don't know if you noticed, but the outdoor unit seems to be quite a bit bigger than the indoor unit, you know?
What?
Well, I mean, wall mounts can be hard enough to sell anyway. Could you imagine if it was the same size as an outdoor unit? That might be a
good
problem,
point.
You know?
Yeah.
But then you got a dirty coil, you got a dirty fan, you know, come on, blower motor, blower wheel, you got a dirty blower wheel, you got stuff like that, so you don't get the heat rejection that you might be able to have on the outdoor unit.
Yep.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Well, questions, JD?
Let's see if we have any questions here. Refreshing. So we have one question. He's asking about, I believe, the app. He said, does it send service problem bulletins?
You know, that's a good question. I don't think so at this time.
I don't think it does. No.
I don't know that we've had a bulletin to release since we've had the app.
Yeah, that's
true.
I don't believe so either.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
We could send out like an extended warranty notification, like we're trying to reach you about your extended warranty. Well, I mean,
your warranty's about to expire. Would you like to extend it?
Yeah. Click here. But okay. No,
right.
But I mean, I think that's probably something that, you know, if we have a bulletin come out or something, maybe that's something we should do is push it out through the app like that.
That's a really good suggestion.
That's a great idea.
In the title of the notification, it needs to have like the model that it applies to, because we don't want to be like, you know, something like that.
That's a lot of details.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving into y'all ready to move into the next segment here? Fans and pressure.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so let's finish it up with 3 additional faults: fan, low pressure, and compressor protection faults. So fan motor or fan feedback malfunction, that is an H6 commonly. Basically what it's saying and is that the fan's not working. So, but keep in mind, we do have different models and different codes, and between the multi-pro, the mini splits, the flex, those could mean different things. The first time I learned this was between just a standard mini split and what we had, what was it, a U match back in the day.
Yeah.
Little bit different setup, it communicated a little differently, had a 2-wire separate communication. That H6 on one might mean indoor fan.
Yep.
An
That's right.
H6 on the flex, for instance, means an outdoor fan. So, make sure you take a look at, which one you're working on. Otherwise, you might be going into the wrong unit to tear it apart. So by the time you get done, well, man, the fan inside's working. Everything seems to be good. Well, it meant the outdoor one.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely ran into that before.
So that's one of those where you go, hey, I got an H6. I got to order a blower motor. And then you get out there and you're like, darn it, it's a condenser fan motor.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, counter guy that covers all kinds of brands and chemicals and parts and all. What should I replace? Yeah, it says here it's a blower motor. Okay, cool. Go get a blower motor, put it in. Yeah, I mean that stinks. I mean, if it told you exactly what part to replace, well, then everybody could do it. And I think
That's
that would
right.
start to be a
True.
problem, right?
Yep.
True.
Yeah.
That's
So
why
how
they
about,
that's why they need you technicians.
That's right.
yeah. So low pressure protection. What causes us to have low pressure?
Good question.
Mm.
The same thing on every system, isn't it? I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
got poor airflow. I could have,
A
The
leak.
restriction.
refrigerant. Got to have refrigerant. As
Yep.
far as I know, I keep seeing, these new engineers and stuff coming out with these, refrigerant-less units and all that. I know that I see articles posted about it, like Pro Talk and a handful of other groups and stuff on social media. But they're a long way away from implementation on something like that. But yeah, you got to have refrigerant. So, that's going back to what JD was talking about before. You can go ahead and connect your gauges. It might be flat, you know. Um, hate to tell you that on the phone. And if it's flat, where did it go? Where did
Yeah.
it go? Anything else on low pressure protection?
No, not
I,
really.
Yeah.
that one's one of the more self-explanatory ones. I mean, but it could potentially be one of your sensors that control the EEV, not out of range,
True.
or not allowing that EEV to open.
Right.
Yeah,
But
and
that
especially
and
on a multi.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now if when we talk about things that could be like in those cases like that where JD was saying, like we'll call that one in the third place, but it's a distant third place as far as what it could be.
Right.
You
I
know?
agree.
And that's kind of how, like, if you're looking at troubleshooting charts, it's like replace this. If you skip to the end, well, you
Hmm.
don't know how rare that might be.
Yeah.
You know, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
This is the fifth one I've done. It's like, okay, go ahead and get you a lottery ticket while you're at it. How about compressor overload protection? What are we
Yeah.
talking about there? We're talking about the compressor overheating, right? The compressor's
Yes.
too hot. All right. Well, like the first question I always like to ask when it comes to that, what keeps a compressor cool?
Getting that gas back to it.
Yeah, the refrigerant keeps it cool, right? I mean, I've had
Yep.
people go outdoor fan motor. Do you see where the compressor is?
It's got a blanket on it.
Yeah, it's got a blanket. That's to keep it warm. That's to keep it warm, right? No. Um, Yeah, so the compressor itself, it keeps itself cool using refrigerant. Okay, why is that refrigerant hot? Why is that not enough refrigerant? That kind of thing. What's reducing the volume of refrigerant going into our compressor? If we have a reduced volume of refrigerant across the entire system, that's like saying it's low on refrigerant. So
Yep.
normally you're thinking, okay, well, if it's low on refrigerant, why is the compressor getting hot? Well, if you take a typical air conditioning system and I walk up and I see that the evaporator is a block of ice, am I checking the compressor to see if it's hot at that point? Usually
No.
not, right?
No.
Mm-mm.
This is what we stick with, you know.
Right.
But since inverter systems can slow down and prevent it from freezing over, for example, freeze protection, this is the only other thing that we can get effectively, right?
Right.
Right.
Is that our compressor gets too hot. Even if you don't have an error code like that, if you hook up one of our service tools like the uh excuse me, the DE4033. No, what is it again for multi-pro? You think I'd be able to remember.
Oh,
But if you got one of our service tools like the GREGT2A3AD as
which
one
is
of
for
our
mini
friends so
split.
kindly, yeah. You can take a look at exactly that. You know, if you say it's not keeping up, that kind of thing. One of the tricks there that we regularly communicate is, okay, fine, you got a service tool, that's awesome. You can also use the clamp on temperature probe for the discharge, but and also your amp meter to determine, your compressor speed. Um, if you turn it on, like let it sit for a minute, turn it back on, get a call for cooling, and you see compressor speed continuing to go up, continuing to go up. You see your discharge going higher and higher and higher, and then it hangs out, and then maybe slows down some, and your discharge still remains kind of hot the whole time. It doesn't have enough refrigerant. It can't distribute enough of it. I mean, the thing is, the reason why they're calling you on the hottest day of the year is because it had enough refrigerant to get them through the other days. Now it doesn't. It needs all that capacity. I mean, how often are we running at 100% capacity?
Rarely ever.
Yeah,
Right.
rarely ever. Unless, of course, you're in my house and people like to turn it off altogether and then turn it on when they're hot. Uh,
Saving energy, James.
I guess so. I guess so. And I'm like, hit these up and down arrows change the set point. But anyway,
So two little things on the H3 code. One of the calls I do get a lot with the H3 is they have loops in the line set,
Hmm.
and then the smaller BT units don't, have the umph in the compressor to push through those loops, and causes that compressor to go into overload protection, and we get the H3 code. So that's a big one there. And then actually on new installs, if you get an H3 code, I would make sure that you opened all your valves. I get that call often too. So
Yep. All right. So, any more questions there, JD?
let's refresh here. So one question did come in. It is kind of off topic, but it is I guess they ran across the unit that's having issues, and I think we could just talk about it real quick.
Sure.
All right. So they said they ran into an LIB unit that was running 3 indoor units. The primary unit, I believe at 12K, almost never seems to blow cold according to the owner, unless the other 2 units are turned down or off. They're constantly freezing over like blocks of ice.
Okay.
So
Okay. This must be a multi-outdoor with Levo indoors.
yes.
So
So go ahead.
they got cross wires.
That is exactly my thought, Daniel. That's why I wanted to just go over that. Yes, that was my first thought too. Is they have crossed up wires. This is a multi-zone. Best way I'll tell contractors to troubleshoot that is, turn one of your problem child units down all the way to 61 on our units, and then turn the others up to 86, all in cool mode, and then see which one starts blowing cold. And that's which one you have switched. If the one that's turned down to 61 is blowing room temperature air, then look for a different one that's blowing 61, or not 61, but blowing cold air. And those are your two that you gotta just, switch your wiring.
Yeah, so what we're talking about there is, so at the outdoor unit on a mini split, you've got 3 indoor units, so you got 3 sets of line sets connecting to that outdoor. You have 3 sets of 4 wires connecting to that outdoor. And the system doesn't really know where to send the refrigerant to unless you match those line sets to A, for instance, and the wire from that unit to A, and so on. The line set and wire from B, that B indoor unit, and then C, that C indoor unit. So if those don't match, it's going to be sending to refrigerant to whichever one it thinks is calling. So if A and B swapped and B calls, but it's going to A, then it's going to send refrigerant to A when A is not calling. And so it's going to freeze that coil up because it's not calling.
Or even when
Yep.
there's like just a slightly different call, you're going to get better cooling out of, better cooling than you need out of one of them, and not as good a cooling out of what, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, if you have one off or it's not calling, like you're saying, it freezes up like a block of ice, which is addressed further down in the comment there, or the question, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
It's exactly what error codes they've had. You'll end up with freeze protection. You'll end up with, what's the other one? It's freeze protection and what?
E1.
A6 and E1,
FO.
right?
FO is low refrigerant. Can be freeze protection.
FO.
Oh, okay.
FO and cool, you'll get an E1 in heat mode.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, normally when we got somebody calling in tech support on that, we spend, unfortunately, we end up, not you guys that are watching, it's your competition, it's not you guys, okay? But you end up spending like an inordinate amount of time talking about, like, I know it's not swapped, I know that, that kind of thing, but it's like, okay, let's just go through it just for the sake of, but if you had a stuck EEV, it's going to help you identify if you have a stuck EEV, for example.
True.
You're feeding refrigerant to one that you don't want to feed to. So you got 2 of them that operate normally, but a third one doesn't. Well, now I've got one to, that we're focused on. But if it seems like our problem seems to kind of move around depending on whichever one it is, you probably don't have a software issue or something, because if you did, we'd know. There's 1,000 of them out there that would have that issue,
That's exactly right. You're not going to have a one-off.
Right.
But so Diane, if that doesn't resolve your issue, and get you resolved, just definitely call into tech support. Again, we typically don't answer job-specific questions, but that was one that I'm pretty confident that's what's going on, and even Daniel thought so too right away. So, if not, give us a call.
He's a salesman. What's he know?
All right. So we're on to the next topic, which is cleanest install. So we have handpicked this month's cleanest install, and I believe we're going to run a little short video on that. So this is look at that line height, James. Isn't that beautiful?
It is. That's what makes the system look great. Very clean. As I always say, there's only so much you can do with your leg, trying to straighten the line set out, or, just kind of, I don't know, running across the concrete there or whatever. But yeah, you put some line set cover on it, it can make it for a real nice one. And most of them are paintable too, so it kind of helps out. If you can keep it out of the wall, it definitely helps you in the future. I know that the builder might not want that, but I mean, I get that. That's not up to us. But in the case of like one of these, yeah, that looks really good. That's from Minisplit Pros in Florida.
Yeah, they did a really good job on that.
Yeah, nice and clean.
And plus, like you're saying, James, if you ever have to work on that one, how easy to get your temperature clamps on a line set if you need to check it.
Well, as well as I do, you're not going to have to work on that one because it's easy to get to. So
that's true. Never.
That's right.
That'll never be a problem. Now,
The
if it's
only ones
buried
that
in the
break
wall
are,
somewhere behind that concrete, behind the brick, yeah, you'll have to get to it someday.
right. You're just charging the wall at that point, right? Just adding refrigerant to the wall cavity. It's the same thing in the attic. You know, you got an access that you can't get in or something like that. Yeah, that's the one that breaks all the time. But
Yeah.
it's also the one that doesn't get the maintenance. So, you know,
Yeah. Or it's a job that you did for a friend that's far away.
right. These are the hashtags on that post. I don't know if you saw those. There's a bunch of hashtags on there.
There is a bunch of hashtags. Wow. All right. So, any further questions we have in there, JD?
Let me refresh here.
Don't forget, use that question mark icon if we really enjoy y'all's involvement in the show. It makes it a lot of fun.
It also makes it so you're not relying on us to make it a good show.
Good point.
We need your guys' help as much as possible.
We need a lot of help, don't we?
Yeah, no question. So again, question mark icon bottom right of your screen.
I'm not sure if there's any behavioral therapists watching right now, but we need some of that too.
Yeah.
Well, you go to the next segment from the field.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So this is going to be from our YouTube channel, right? Is that each one of these? So from the video, should you use chemicals to clean a mini split coil? At username says vinegar. So I'm gonna say that's a question there. I'm gonna look. I'll go first on this one. If the vinegar itself is acidic, right?
Yep.
And if you were to water it down, you're going to lower the acidity level of it and all that stuff. But generally speaking, we don't recommend acid cleaners, right? We don't want to add something that is caustic or even basic solutions. We try to go with as neutral as we can.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of cleaners out there that are pretty neutral, yeah, whatever. I don't sell it, but whatever. Simple Green's pretty good, any kind of neutral stuff that's offered by, I don't know, New Calgon or any of the other people, out there selling stuff that, I don't sell. But whatever's at your favorite supply house that sells chemicals, there you go. As long as it's somewhat neutral, something that can help in like a bad case scenario, like if it's in a kitchen or something like that, you might need some degreaser, but it's still pretty neutral. And then you're going to be rinsing it, pretty good after the fact. I would not use rinseless.
No, that's what I was getting ready to say.
It needs to be rinsed.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely rinse it. I mean, if you're relying on it condensation wise to, rinse itself, does the entire coil, is it capable of rinsing itself? How long is it going to take to rinse itself? That kind of thing. So, but on the blower wheel, stuff like that, I'd still probably do something neutral as well, right? Even then, also if you're going to clean it like Greg's video showed,
That's what I was.
Yeah.
I was just getting ready to say that.
Normally water works pretty well. Or a degreaser of some kind works pretty well too.
Warm water, hot water.
Yeah, and don't forget the blower wheel.
Wouldn't go too hot.
Not too hot.
Yeah,
that's why I said warm at first.
you could cause some problems if you get some real boiling water on there.
Yes.
It'd be clean. Right. Might be ugly now, but it'll be clean.
It'll be clean. It'll be real clean. You know that really good cleaner they used to make that would just strip the paint right off of that outdoor coil?
Yeah.
Don't use that.
Yeah. We got a call one time years ago that said, I cleaned it real good. They sent pictures in and it was silver.
Yeah. It's it had a coating on it.
Yeah, not supposed to be silver. All right, next one. Going to be high static pressure in hot attics, diagnosing restrictive ductwork. And from Supply House Marco, he says, oh, that's nice. He says, thank you, gents. This is one of the best resources out here. Not naming names, but I've Followed one fellow since his days with redacted manufacturer.
Great information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we weren't born here. We've all worked somewhere else. But yeah, there's actually three of us from a redacted manufacturer at some point, right?
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So far. So far, three from redacted manufacturer. I'm just kidding. So next one is going to be, that's very nice, Supply House Marco. I appreciate that, man. So next is humidity control, peak comfort with inverter systems. Hashtag Talking Comfort Live. So Cool Daddy TV says we've had tremendous success with commercial dehumidification. I think that's I'm gonna take that one a little bit. Can I do that?
Yeah, you can have that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't actually I do know where it comes from, but I've heard that VRF, I've heard that inverter-driven systems, I've heard quite a few talk about they'll say that yeah, they don't do a good job removing humidity. Okay. Now, I don't know how you can take something that has the ability to slow down and also maintain a cold coil and it not do a great job of removing humidity, unless, of course, it's oversized.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I've taken commercial specs before and just went ahead and did the math because I saw that they would say the space is 1,500 square feet and it says 3 tons.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. That's 500 square feet per ton. I go to the next space on the spec. It says 2,000 square feet. It says 4 tons. I'm like, huh, that's also 500 square feet per ton. Like, what are the chances? You know, and then go on through the rest of it. Okay, so I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that there was no heat load calculation done on that. I understand that's what the spec says and all that stuff, but there's no heat load or heat loss calculation done on that. That's precisely what the reason is. And for nearly 20 years, I keep hearing people say you can't oversize inverter-driven systems. You absolutely can. There's minimum run times, there's minimum speeds, there's all kinds of built-in minimums to protect themselves and all that. You can still oversize them and have them run incorrectly. You know, you're
Yep.
taking their ability to properly dehumidify.
Yep.
Right.
And it's more common than you might think. I know everyone that's watching today, they, do a heat load every single time. But
Well, I tell you what, even if you are doing a heat load calculation, it's as accurate as the information that you input. Like I can think of one example right now where, let's say it's a room that's got a bunch of windows and you size the equipment based on like 2 windows.
oh, I know this example.
Yeah. You size the equipment based on 2 windows.
Yeah.
Well, I understand the heat loss or heat load calculation says that this is what capacity that you need, but the information that you put in, it's garbage in, garbage out.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. You know, it's inaccurate information going in. It's got an inaccurate output. Just like on the other hand, I mean, we've had, let's see, I can think of another one that was a 2-story house. The second story was done with a multi-zone style system. And they had heat loss through the floor, like it was a single story, like it was out by itself or whatever. Not heat gain from the floor, mind you, heat loss. In reality, it was heat gain. You know, they had plenty of heat gain coming from the first story that had its own heating system. You know, so then you oversize the system in that case, right? So even the nice software, I mean, it's got a beautiful printout and all that. Don't get me wrong; it'll be like a 30-page document for every one of those. But if you've got 30 pages of inaccurate information being fed into it, it's just 30 pages of inaccurate information. You know.
Well, just because you have 30 pages of information doesn't mean you're right.
Yeah. So I mean, please recycle. You know.
Yeah.
You can take that paper and
recycle that paper.
But you know, I mean, it's like that for every system out there. You know, I mean, they do a better job of dehumidifying than an oversized non-inverter driven system.
True.
Right.
But no, these, I mean, just going from standard unitary non-inverter to inverter, you are looking at much better dehumidification, period. But as the question comes up all the time, especially when I was sitting in JD's seat over there in tech support, hey, this thing isn't dehumidifying like I think it should. Well, at the end of the day, if it's sized right and everything's, working the way that it should, it's still not a dehumidifier. So if
No.
you legitimately need a dehumidifier, you may need to purchase something that's intended to do that.
Right. Every time I take a shower, the humidity goes through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
Quit
time I'm
taking
cooking,
hot showers. Take cold
every
ones.
time I'm cooking, right.
Well,
Or
there's other factors too. Like I had a call the other day where they're like, here recently the humidities went up, and of course they had no reason for it and couldn't figure out why. And they're like, something's going on with the unit. And I started asking more questions, and finally I said, do you guys have wood floors? And they said, yes, they just got a new wood floor like a week ago. I'm like, when did your problem start? Like a week ago.
what's that got
I'm
to
like,
do with?
yeah, because that wood has moisture in there. It's still curing. It's still, and I Googled it, and it said it could take up to a year, depending on the wood type and this and that to, balance out. So
So that system's working as hard as it can to get rid of the moisture that is being constantly produced by the new wood floor.
yeah, yeah. And he's like, oh, that makes so much sense now. But there's other fact. They kept saying it was a unit, and they called in like multiple times. Finally, just asking more questions, and what changed in the home? Well,
Yeah.
the wood floor. They got a new wood floor, but they had a wood floor before. I'm like, but how old was that? They're like 30 years old. That's why.
Yeah, there's always, there always seems to be some little piece of information that the technician may never realize while he's focused on this problem that,
Right.
and he may not see that whole big solution.
Well, we do the same thing. I mean, that's why we pick up the phone and call each other.
Exactly.
Or call
Yep.
friends of ours that work other places or whatever. I mean, it's no different than what you guys do in the field too. You just having that second set of eyes or second set of ears or whatever on that problem
Yep.
is enough to change it right off. I don't know how many times we've had conversations where it's like, oh, well, now I feel like an idiot. Thanks. I don't know why I didn't check that or whatever. And we've all had turns doing exactly that.
Yeah.
Saying
For each
Oh,
other.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can't know it all, can't see it all. And, I mean, hell, it's not like they send out one detective to go find out what about the crime. Sometimes they send out two. They send out a whole like forensics team and all the rest of that. So, I mean, those are people that have a job like that too, and they're supposed to be experts as well, right? Yeah, there's one more. I know of a house that was remodeled, and during the remodel, or like shortly after the remodel, they got a new air conditioner and all that, and it was a two-stage system that they put in, and it was a ton larger than the one they had.
Mm.
So, you're talking new insulation in the walls, new windows, new doors. They had, I don't know, like 3 feet of insulation added to the attic or whatever, and all the rest of that. And then the air conditioner was increased by a ton, so it was like a 3 ton to a 4 ton, but it was two-stage, so it should be fine.
Right.
Unless, of course, you understand that the first stage was basically like the same size as the old system was, somewhere around 3 tons, right? So every time it came on, it ran first stage and only ran 3 tons, and it would short cycle, short cycle, short cycle. This had the fancy thermostat that showed you the runtime of each stage.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 2 hours out of like a couple hundred hours, with second stage, And yeah, 76, 78% humidity at all times.
Mm.
Yeah. So what did they do to fix it? In this case, they gave them their money back.
Oh, geez.
Yep. It's pretty rough. Luckily, I don't have a two-stage system, so to sell.
We don't offer a two-stage.
So it wasn't me. So, I got to hear of a problem somebody else was having. So I was, entertained by that. It's like watching a soap opera.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, that
we got
looks
one
like
more input. We got Craig says, I had a problem when the homeowner cut all of the trees down around the house and increased the sun load. The unit would not keep up after. What do you do to fix that?
you
Plant some
put
more
in
trees.
a bigger unit, but don't increase the ductwork.
No, you increase the airflow and then try to get your delta right. Somehow increasing the capacity.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. Well, that's it for questions. I mean,
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I guess that does it for this month's Talking Comfort Live. Let's check out what's coming up. Wednesday, September 2nd. We've got Beyond Ductwork, raising your offering with refrigerant zoning. I love to talk about zoning with refrigerant. I think that's the coolest thing ever. And then the Contractor Pro app is available on the app stores for iOS and Android. Don't forget to give us like and subscribe on YouTube, and join us next month for Talking Comfort Live. As always, remember, wherever the job takes you,
we're by your
side.
Thanks for watching Talking Comfort Live. We appreciate you joining in and hope this helps you the next time you're installing, troubleshooting, or simply figuring out what's next. Be sure to register for our next episode. See you there.